Lynn stood in the doorway, staring at the letter again. Her fingers shook, smearing the ink slightly. The words felt unreal, careless, cruel. She looked at the boys still standing there. Their eyes waited for permission to exist. "Come in," she whispered. They stepped inside, silent, uncertain. Her perfect living room suddenly felt too clean, too empty. She closed the door slowly, as if sealing fate. The younger one clutched his stuffed dog tighter. The older boy scanned the room like a soldier. Lynn forced a smile. "Have you eaten breakfast?" Both shook their heads. She moved toward the kitchen, heart thudding unevenly. The kettle hissed behind her. Her phone vibrated on the counter. Mai's name flashed across the screen. Lynn answered, voice shaking. "What are you doing, Mai? You left your kids." Her sister's voice sounded casual, amused. "Relax, it's just for a while." "A while, until December." Mai laughed softly. "You've got the space, you'll be fine." "You can't dump them like baggage." "I can, and I did. Don't ruin this for me." Lynn felt her pulse pounding in her ears. "Where are you?" "Airport, my flight's boarding, don't call again." The line went dead. Lynn stared at the phone, the silence roaring around her. The boys sat on the couch, hands folded neatly. No questions, no noise. As if they'd learned that quiet meant safety. She turned away, biting her lip. The weight of responsibility settled like a stone. Her carefully built life tilted off balance. The house that once echoed with order now pulsed with uncertainty. She poured milk into bowls, watching her reflection tremble in the glass. "Here," she said gently. They ate slowly, eyes flicking toward her between bites. The younger one yawned, exhaustion pulling at his face. "What's your name again, sweetheart?" "Bo," he whispered. "And you?" "Nam." His tone was polite but guarded. Lynn nodded, memorizing them both like a test. After breakfast, she led them upstairs. "Pick any room you like." They hesitated at the doorway. Finally, Nam asked, "Will Mom come back soon?" Lynn paused. She wanted to lie, but the truth hung heavy. "I don't know," she said softly. Bo crawled onto the bed, hugging his toy. Within minutes, he was asleep. Nam sat by the window, staring at nothing. Lynn leaned against the doorframe, helpless. Her phone buzzed again, a message from Landon. "You okay?" She typed back, "Not really. I need advice." His reply came quick. "You'll handle this, you always do." She read it twice, breathing steadier. In that moment, something shifted. Fear didn't leave, but purpose took its place. She stripped the guest bed, changed the sheets. Every fold, every movement became a vow. The house no longer belonged to her alone. It belonged to the chaos her sister left behind. And to the fragile hope she was now responsible for. Sunday sunlight crept through the blinds. Lynn woke to the soft sound of footsteps. Nam was standing in the hallway, holding Bo's hand. "We didn't know where the bathroom was," he said. Lynn smiled faintly, pointing down the hall. "It's there, honey. You're safe here." They nodded and disappeared into the light. Her chest ached with something she couldn't name. In the kitchen, she brewed coffee, staring at the clock. It was still only 7. The air felt too quiet, too careful. When the boys returned, Bo's hair was damp. He smelled faintly of soap and sleep. "Are you hungry?" Lynn asked. Bo nodded shyly. Nam hesitated before speaking. "We can make cereal. Mom says not to bother people." Lynn's throat tightened. "You don't have to make your own breakfast anymore." She cracked eggs into a bowl. The sound filled the silence like punctuation. Bo watched closely, eyes round and dark. He pointed to the whisk. "Can I stir?" Lynn handed it to him. He grinned, stirring too hard, splashing batter on the counter. Nam frowned and wiped it up quietly. She noticed his precision, his practiced care. Too much care for a 9-year-old. As they ate pancakes, Lynn's phone buzzed again. Mai's name glowed across the screen. She answered with forced calm. "How are my boys?" Mai's voice slurred. "They're fine, but they barely have clothes, Mai." "Don't start with me," Mai snapped. "You think you're perfect just because you have a job." Lynn swallowed her anger. "They don't even have shoes that fit." "Then buy them shoes. You make enough money." The call ended with laughter and ocean waves. Lynn stared at the phone, fingers cold. A new call flashed, her mother, Lan. "Lynn, why are you giving your sister trouble?" Lynn bit her tongue. "She left her children, letter 1EB9. Mai needs rest. You wouldn't understand motherhood." Lynn's voice broke. "They make their own breakfast because she locks her door." "So dramatic," her mother sighed. "Not everyone lives by a schedule like you." Lynn turned to see Nam cutting Bo's pancake into tiny pieces. His movements were automatic, practiced. Her chest constricted. "This isn't the first time, is it?" she asked softly. Her mother's silence answered everything. "Who took them last time?" "Their father, for a few days." "But Mai said he disappeared years ago." "Not that one," her mother whispered. "Bo's father was someone else, a man named Victor." Lynn froze. The name rang like a warning bell. Did he ever hurt them? No answer. Only the sound of breathing on the line. Lynn ended the call, tears stinging her eyes. Nam looked up, wary but calm. "Are you going to send us back?" She knelt beside him. "No, sweetheart, you're staying here." Bo leaned against her arm, small and warm. For the first time in years, Lynn felt both terrified and whole. The morning light fell across the table. 3 plates. 3 lives. 1 fragile beginning. The week passed in quiet rhythm. Lynn drove the boys to school every morning. They sat in the backseat, whispering softly. Bo counted cars. Nam watched the trees blur by. Each evening, Lynn packed lunches and folded clothes. She built routines like walls against chaos. Dinner at 6. Homework at 7. Bedtime stories at 8:30. At first, the boys obeyed like guests afraid to stay too long. By Thursday, Bo started humming while brushing his teeth. The sound filled the house like sunlight. Lynn found herself smiling at nothing. Friday night brought the first storm of autumn. Rain hammered the windows. Thunder shook the air. A scream tore through the darkness. Lynn ran to the boys' room, heart racing. Bo thrashed in his sheets, crying out. "No, don't hurt Nam." She scooped him up, holding tight. "It's just a dream, baby. You're safe." Nam sat up pale, eyes shining. "It was Victor," he whispered. "He grabbed Bo once. I tried to stop him." The words hit Lynn like a blow. She rocked Bo until his sobs slowed. "No one will hurt you again," she whispered. "Not while I'm alive," she thought. The next day, she bought them new clothes. Soft jeans, bright shirts, sneakers that fit. At the checkout, Nam stared at the prices. "Are we spending too much?" he asked quietly. "You're not a burden," Lynn said. He blinked, uncertain, then nodded. Bo hugged his stuffed dog against his chest. That night, they made pizza together. Flour dusted the counter, laughter spilled freely. Bo's dough looked like a cloud. Nam shaped his carefully into a perfect circle. When they ate, Lynn saw something new, joy without fear. Later, after they slept, she sat at the table. A notebook lay open beside her. She began listing evidence: neglect, forged papers, bruises, fear. Each word was a reason to fight. She called her friend Landon in Seattle. "I think I need a lawyer," she said. He didn't hesitate. "Do it, they deserve better." Sunday morning, Lynn planted a small garden in the backyard. Bo pressed his hands into the soil. "It's cold," he giggled. Nam measured the rows, reading instructions from the seed packet. "Will we still be here when the tomatoes grow?" he asked. Lynn's throat tightened. "Do you want to be?" He shrugged, but hope flickered behind his eyes. That night, Lynn couldn't sleep. The house no longer felt too quiet. It breathed. It belonged to all three of them now. She walked to the boys' room and watched them sleep. Beau's thumb rested near his lips. Nam's hand stretched protectively across his brother. Lynn whispered into the dim air. "I'll keep you safe." Her voice trembled, but her resolve did not. Outside, the storm had passed. Inside, something stronger was just beginning. The pounding came just after sunrise. Lynn froze at the sound, heart leaping to her throat. Someone was hammering on the front door. The noise shook the walls, violent and insistent. Beau's spoon clattered to the floor. Nam whispered, "It's Mom." Lynn's blood ran cold. She walked to the door, robe tied tight. Through the peephole, she saw them. Mai stood outside, wild-eyed and furious. Beside her loomed a large man with cropped hair. Behind them, a black SUV idled in the driveway. "Open up," Mai shouted. "We're taking my kids." Lynn's hands trembled on the lock. "It's too early for this," she said through the door. "They're sleeping." "Open it, Lynn." Mai's voice broke with rage. The man stepped forward, shoulders slamming into the door. Wood cracked. The chain snapped loose. Lynn stumbled backward as the door exploded open. The impact sent her crashing against the wall. Pain shot down her arm. "Get the boys," Mai screamed. The man thundered up the stairs. Beau cried out from the bedroom. Nam shouted something, defiant, terrified. Lynn pushed herself up, dizzy and shaking. Her mother stood in the doorway, face pale. "Mom, stop this," Lynn gasped. "They were abandoned." "They belong with their mother," Lan said quietly. A crash echoed above them. Furniture scraping, wood splintering. "Leave us alone," Nam screamed. Lynn tried to run, but Mai grabbed her arm. "You always want what's mine," she spat. "You took everything, Dad's love, that scholarship, now my kids." "I never wanted your chaos," Lynn cried. "You left them, Mai, you left them." Another thud upstairs, Beau's wailing. The man appeared on the stairs, both children in his arms. Nam kicked wildly, feet bare, voice cracking. "Die, Lynn, don't let them take us." Lynn lunged, but the man shoved past her. Her shoulder hit the table, books tumbled to the floor. Mai followed, tears streaking through smeared mascara. "This is my family," she screamed. "Not anymore," Lynn rasped, reaching for her phone. The man dragged the boys toward the SUV. Beau's stuffed dog fell to the floor. Nam's voice broke into sobs. "Please don't." Lynn dialed with shaking hands. 911, what's your emergency? "This is a kidnapping," she said, breath ragged. "My sister's taken 2 children. She's dangerous." Outside, car doors slammed. The engine roared. The SUV sped down the street, tail lights vanishing in the gray morning. Lynn stood in the doorway, chest heaving. Her arm throbbed. Her heart ached like something had been torn from her body. She pressed the phone to her ear, voice steadying. "They're gone," she whispered. "I need the police right now." The sirens wailed in the distance, drawing closer. Lynn sank to her knees amid broken wood and scattered memories. The house smelled of fear and salt. Her promise echoed through her mind. No one will hurt them again. And she meant it. The courtroom smelled of paper and polish. Lynn sat straight, hands clenched in her lap. Across the aisle, Mai appeared in handcuffs. Her orange jumpsuit hung loose on her frame. Her eyes found Lynn's and filled with hate. The judge entered, voice calm but firm. "Case number 241062, State versus Mai Nguyen." The charges echoed through the room. Assault. Child endangerment. Attempted kidnapping. Lynn's bruised shoulder ached under her jacket. The prosecutor spoke with sharp precision. Photos of the broken door flashed on a screen. Recordings of Lynn's 911 call played softly. Beau's small cry in the background drew gasps. Mai stared at the table, jaw tight. Her mother sat behind her, eyes downcast. The judge's gavel tapped lightly. "Mrs. Lan Nguyen, please take the stand." Linh looked up, startled. Her mother walked slowly to the witness chair. She swore to tell the truth, hands trembling. "Mrs. Nguyen," the prosecutor began, "did your daughter discuss taking the children?" Lan hesitated, glancing at Mai. "She said she needed to get them back." "Did she mention how?" Lan's voice cracked. "She said her boyfriend would handle anyone who got in the way." Mai gasped, shaking her head. "Mom, stop," she cried. The judge warned her to remain silent. "Did you understand that to mean violence?" Lan nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I thought she just wanted her sons. I didn't know." The courtroom went still. Linh closed her eyes. Every word felt like a knife. When the sentence came, it felt heavy and hollow. 22 years in prison. No parole for the first 10. Mai broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. Linh stared at her sister, unable to move. The woman who once braided her hair now looked like a stranger. Their mother avoided Lin's gaze as she left. Reporters waited outside with flashing cameras. Linh walked past them in silence. Her lawyer, Ms. N, kept pace beside her. "It's over," and said quietly. But it was. That evening, and called again. "Linh, we have a new complication." Her voice was low, serious. "Nam's biological father has filed for custody." Linh gripped the phone, stunned. "What? He's never even met him." "His name is Hai Tran, clean record, stable job, married." Linh felt the ground tilt under her feet. "He's claiming he didn't know Nam existed." "That's impossible. Mai told me she told him." And sighed. "He's hired a good lawyer. We'll fight it." Linh sat in the dark, phone pressed to her ear. Her reflection stared back from the window. The house felt too big, too empty. She whispered to herself, "I won't lose them again." Outside, the wind rustled the trees. Inside, determination replaced exhaustion. The battle wasn't over. But this time, Linh knew exactly what she was fighting for. Months blurred into each other like rain on glass. The boys were placed in foster care across town. Linh visited every Saturday, carrying cookies and books. Beau ran into her arms each time, clinging tightly. Nam stood back, polite, older than his years. He always asked the same question. "When can we come home?" Linh never had a real answer. She just smiled and said, "Soon." At night, she documented everything. Every visit. Every conversation. Every small proof that she belonged to them. Her apartment filled with drawings and case files. Her lawyer, and kept pushing through the maze of hearings. The father, Hai Tran, missed one hearing. Then another. Then a third. He stopped responding to court summons entirely. N's voice carried quiet satisfaction. "This helps us, Linh. Stay patient." Linh nodded, though patience had become its own kind of pain. She worked days, fought paperwork at night. Sometimes she fell asleep at her desk, pen still in hand. A year crawled by. The fourth hearing came at last. Linh walked into the courthouse with trembling hands and placed a comforting touch on her arm. "Whatever happens today, you did everything right." Inside, the air felt heavy with expectation. The judge adjusted her glasses, flipping through documents. Hai Tran's seat sat empty again. The silence stretched. Then the gavel struck. Full legal custody of both minors granted to Linh Nguyen. For a heartbeat, Linh couldn't breathe. She blinked hard, as if the words might vanish, and squeezed her hand. "It's done, they're yours." Tears blurred her vision. Outside, the sky opened in sunlight. The next morning, Linh drove to the foster home. Her hands shook on the steering wheel. Beau burst through the doorway before she even parked. He sprinted across the yard, voice cracking. You came back. You really came back. Linh caught him, lifting him into her arms. I never left, sweetie. I was fighting for you. Nam appeared in the doorway, taller, quieter. He carried the same worn backpack as before. She reached out an arm. Room for one more. He hesitated, then ran forward, tears breaking free. You kept your promise, he whispered. The drive home felt like a dream. Bo talked nonstop about dinosaurs and pancakes. Nam stared out the window, memorizing every street. When they reached the house, both fell silent. Welcome home, Linh said softly. They stepped inside, their footsteps echoing. Bo gasped at the room waiting for them. Posters, toys, stars on the ceiling. Nam traced a hand over the desk. This is really ours. For as long as you want it. That night, they ate pizza and ice cream. Laughter spilled through the halls. Before bed, Linh handed Bo a small box. Inside was his stuffed dog, repaired clean. He hugged it tight. You kept him safe for me. Linh smiled through tears. I kept everything safe. I never stopped believing. Outside, the world went quiet. Inside, the family she built began again. Morning light spilled through the window. Linh woke to the sound of laughter downstairs. Bo's voice rose in playful delight. Nam's quieter laughter followed behind. For a moment, she just listened. The sound filled every empty corner of the house. She walked down, still barefoot, still smiling. The boys were making pancakes, flour everywhere. Bo waved a spatula like a flag. Breakfast for the queen, he shouted. Nam rolled his eyes but grinned. Linh laughed until her eyes stung. This chaos felt perfect. No silence. No fear. Just home. She set the table, heart full. The scars on her arm had faded. The pain had turned into strength. Eat before it burns, Nam said shyly. Bo poured syrup like it was treasure. They ate together, crumbs and sunlight on the table. After breakfast, Linh looked at them and whispered, I love you both more than you'll ever know. Bo leaned against her shoulder. Nam nodded, smiling softly. Outside, the garden had begun to bloom. Tiny green shoots stretched toward the sky. Linh took a deep breath, steady and sure. Everything broken had found its way home again.